name is Carylyne, and I head marketing at CoinMarketCap. So most of you probably know CFC is the place where you go to look at crypto prices, exchange volumes, things like that. But today I want to talk a little bit more about how we built this product to be the product that you know and love, how we think about the design of such products, how we think about educating the users that come on our site. So a bit of background for some of you who might not know, CoinMarketCap is the #1 info resource for cryptocurrencies in the world. So we started in 2013 as a project for the community because we realized that there was no way to really evaluate other cryptocurrencies versus Bitcoin. So it's been almost 6 years now. It's going to be our 6th anniversary on May 1st, which is coming up in a week. So we are pretty excited about that. So as the #1 info source, we actually ranked top 500 in the world in terms of traffic, and we also popularized some of the terms that everyone uses in the industry, for example, market capitalization. So as you can tell from our name, CoinMarketCap, like market cap is the main way that we use to rank cryptocurrencies. So that is the bulk of our business, and also at the same time we popularize the term Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance is how we calculate, how we basically measure Bitcoin as its market cap versus the rest of the market cap. So it's a way to just kind of show the influence of Bitcoin in the general market at that point in time. And the last one that we coined is circulating supply. So this is analogous to public float in the financial markets. So basically a way to figure out how much of the coins or tokens are actually circulating in people's hands. So if you want to buy it, you can actually buy it. So these are some of the terms. And because we are very much global and also the most trafficked site for cryptocurrency, we can actually see that just last year alone we had about 3.6 billion page views and 125 million active users all around the world. So it's actually split pretty evenly across the Americas, Europe, Asia, and then a little bit from Africa and the rest of the world. So it's actually quite even. So since we're here today in Taiwan, I wanted to share a little bit of interesting stats that we've seen. So on the left, the list there, you can see these are the coins which are coins and tokens which are most interesting to people around the world. So the usual suspects, as you might imagine, XRP, Bitcoin, Tron, Ethereum, etc. And then on the right, you can see Taiwan, which apparently was surprisingly quite different. So Taiwan, for example, has like Wager up there, Bitcoin as well as Bitcoin. So like these are quite unique entries in the top 10. And when I looked at some of the other countries as well, Taiwan's very unique, as is Japan, whereas other kind of countries like Hong Kong or Singapore are very much the same as the international audience. So I think there are various quirks across different countries that we can see just using our traffic data. And so one that was particularly interesting was in Vietnam last year, the top 5 most viewed projects was actually BitConnect. So that was in 2018. I felt that was really interesting. So from country to country, it does vary all across. And in fact, just last year, we also had North Korea. We had users from North Korea as well. So I think that really showcases how global crypto is as a topic. And so one of the things that we see, of course, is driving adoption, right? Because we have so many users coming to our site. We are always asking, what can we do to drive more adoption for more mainstream awareness or interest in cryptocurrencies? So why we think that, if you look at the chart over there, that's our correlation with Bitcoin price. So our site traffic is 90% correlated with Bitcoin price. So if it goes up, it goes up, if it goes down, it goes down. So it's actually quite an interesting relationship there. So I think not just for us, I think for all kinds of cryptocurrency companies, whether you're an exchange or a wallet or a DApp or anything like that, all of you do need to drive greater mainstream adoption in order for it to become an even more viable business in the long run. So this is something that, because of the position that we're in, we always think really deeply about, like how can we do more to help to drive that kind of adoption. So the way that our website is laid out is very simple. Basically, the whole point is you can get on the site and you can see everything that you want at one glance on the first page. So that's the top 100. So for most of our users, actually about 40% of them just come on the main site, like the first page of the main site, and then they just kind of scroll through that and leave. So we do see page views increasing over time, but that's like on a day-to-day basis. When you come early in the morning, we come late at night, and anytime they come to the CMC, usually other than when you're doing research, you just want to check the top prices that you want to see. So I think like the first page is really simple. It was built to be that way, so that we can make it as obvious as possible. Like these are the things which people are looking at. But also at the same time, we know that we need to grow more adoption and awareness of other cryptocurrencies. So one of the things that we've done is recently we've gone through a little bit of a slight design revamp. So we've added kind of new colors and new schemes to the site. And one of the things that we've done is to redo our navigation so that we can add more content to it. So on the navigation itself, we added educational initiatives like our intro to crypto guide. So one of the things that users told us is they come to CMC, but like the first page is really simple, but it's simple to the point where they don't really know where to start, especially if you're new to crypto. So we started intro to crypto guide that we are continuously updating to tell people why they should care about crypto, what they need to understand about it, how to do their own research, how to buy crypto for a start, things like that. So I think all of these are part of our efforts to help people to really understand why they should get into it and then how they should get into it. So other than that, we also care a lot about being at every single touch point that people could think about when it comes to crypto. So just last week, we launched our new mobile apps on iOS and Android for the first time. So what we have done there is really to provide an experience that has a lot of delightful details that makes people want to keep coming back. So on the site, it's very simple. Like people think of it as more utility, but I think on the mobile app itself, it's actually added more of these really fun details. For example, when you scroll it, the spark lines kind of animate and things like that, like things that people actually really enjoy. So we actually see from the data that people actually do come back pretty often, and they like to scroll through the list for that kind of interaction. So I think with things like that, because we're always about the long tail, we're always about discovering a new crypto, that's how we have kind of shaped our design to be in line with that. And one of the other things that we have also heard is people come to our site and they save their watch list, but once their cookie clears, they lose their whole watch list. So we've resisted for a long time to have logins because of privacy concerns. Like we didn't really want to force people to have to log in if they don't want to, but I think based on what we have heard from user demand, they do want to have a way to save some of their data. So we've actually introduced logins on the mobile app, which will soon be coming to the site. So all of these are really to help to create that seamless experience for users as they kind of go through their crypto research and look at CMC for different things. So other than that, it's really building user depth. Like how do we get people to look at more info? How do we get people to look at more content? How do we look at more projects that they might eventually care about? And I think that's really about building user depth. So let's say on our mobile app, we now have never seen before features. For example, we have candlesticks finally, and then we also have portfolio. We also have compare crypto. So like for example, some people want to see the performance of cryptocurrencies compared to each other. So instead of having to look at one page and the other page, you kind of have to switch. Like instead of doing that, you can actually put cryptocurrencies side by side, and then you can look at them at the same time. So I think things like that actually help to enhance the whole experience, to increase the user's research capabilities so that they have more ways to do their own research into the coins, into the exchanges that they care about, and then for us, it's always about providing the data and the experience for them to be able to do that really expediently. And I think part of growing adoption is humor. I think it always helps when you're being funny. So we had a series of launch images. So this one was about our very famous, or very popular Lambo conversion feature that we had for April Fools last year. So people really like that you could convert whatever price it is into however much, many Lambos you can buy with that amount. So I think because of kind of our launch images like this, you actually see that many people have shared it with their friends and family, like people who were not into crypto before, and say, like, look at some of the funny slang that's, in crypto, and like some of our kind of underground slang and other jargon that we use, and we actually see some people actually picked it up after that and became more interested in cryptocurrencies as a result. So I think humor is always part of how you communicate other than the products as well. So one more thing about being in every channel, we actually are pushing very hard on the educational front. Like we put a lot of time and effort into making sure that our users have the best educational resources that they could find. So I think this is something new that we have just introduced in the past year or so. So what we've done here, for example, is our newsletter. It's a daily newsletter with all the news. It has technical analysis, things like that. But I think the main part about it is we also have things like infographics. We have video tutorials. We have just more ways for people to discover other content that they may or may not know. And I think as the user base becomes more sophisticated in the kind of needs or data that they want, we're trying to go along with that. And part of this is building that kind of brand voice, right? So people really enjoy coming to the newsletter because every day we have a poll of the day. For example, here it asks, how much do you agree with the statement? I am confident that Bags will be live by end of 2019. So this is like that day's poll. And then like below that, we actually show people's comments about and their vote from the last day. So for example, this one is about having more fiat to crypto on ramps will really help drive crypto adoption. So things like that actually make people feel like they are part of the community, and they're part of, like, every single day they come back, they see other people commenting on kind of pertinent thoughts and topics of the day, and that makes them feel like they could have a real conversation around crypto globally and not just with the people around them. And also, of course, at the same time, speaking of conversations, we have our own Telegram bot. So this also is a daily Telegram effort. So what happens is every single day we send you some highlights that happened within the crypto space. So these tend to be different from the newsletter. So there's less duplicate across the different platforms. And so on this one, for example, there's a lot more interactivity. We could put funny gifs. Like for example, this one, there's the fortune cat, because the content was around how President Xi Jinping feels that there is space for turning RMB into a digital currency. So. And the funny thing about like having conversations like that is, after we launched it, we saw some pretty funny comments from our users saying that they're literally having a more meaningful conversation with this bot than I have in real life with anyone in months. So I think like people just really have a visceral and a really kind of strong connection to a medium like that, and that's definitely something that we're keeping in mind as we push into many different other educational initiatives, other educational platforms based on not just our website, but also outside of our website on other mediums as well. So we also have a blog where, like I said, some of our users are getting more sophisticated, so they want to have other more in-depth understanding of content that goes beyond the one-on-one type of information, or goes beyond news or having conversations with the people around them. So what we have done here is to really provide much more in-depth, much more just kind of solid research and analysis from not just us, but also from our partners. So around, just kind of all kinds of topics. For example, this one's about security tokens. We have some stuff on DEXs, just different kinds of stable coins, things like that. So like all kinds of topics are covered on the blog, and this is really to cater to that growing awareness and growing need for a different set of content, from the one-on-one type to the really advanced types. So in the future, we also will be launching more kind of in-depth webinars, as well as our own kind of technical column as well. So I think all of these are ways that we have put together to really grow along and evolve along with our user base, and also to provide our signature, really simple experience. So if you have any questions, like, do feel free to let me know. If you think there's something that we could partner with, feel free to email me. My email is up there. And make sure you check out our app, our newsletter, our Telegram bot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carylyne.